As odd as it is, it's time for the second set of the day, starting a little later than I think most people would have expected after the two teams they saw coming into the 7 games for Na'Vi and VP. Now we get to start with Kanga and NIP. I'm Gormizer, and joining me once again on the desk for this is going to be Meta Pusher. And I think me and you have been on the desk before, but never just like the two of us, like me hosting you analysts. It was always
Golden
on
boy.
the same side. We were a team.
I'm glad that
then.
guy's gone. Just kidding. I love you,
No,
Alex.
absolutely
Yeah.
no. Yeah. Either way, we have some fantastic teams coming through today. And I mean, already I think everyone's kind of been thrown for a surprise because Na'Vi with Mutu have now been kind of dethroned, I want to say, because that's the first time we've seen them lose with their full roster. But now we're going into this. Kanga yesterday wasn't exactly as clean. It was 4-1 as a loss they took to Na'Vi. So the question today is whether or not they can bring it. Do you think that between yesterday and today, like, is NIP going to be an easier opponent or much more difficult?
I think if the last set is any precedent to look at, it's the fact that you can take a loss on Thursday and learn from it and come back even stronger against a team that's potentially even stronger than the team you lost to. So I think King is definitely in this fight, but definitely heavily underfavored.
Yeah. Well, of course, all these teams are playing essentially to get to one place, and it's a place you can go as well. Hi-Res Expo tickets are on sale right now, so you can go get yours. Be prepared to be able to come through, see all the world champions, see your teams play, root them on live, and of course, you know, as someone who has been standing on that stage for the finals, I'm sure it's always nice having the crowd kind of behind you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, HRX is one of my favorite time of the year. I get to hang out with all the people, see awesome games, Paladins, Smite, everything. I love it.
That's just a fantastic time of year. Kind of like Christmas, but maybe a month and a half early. Either way, it's going to be good for the players. Of course, it gives you a nice December that you can relax either as a winner, I guess, which was for you this year, or maybe not quite, which was Na'Vi this last year. But we're going to look more into this set specifically, and specifically towards Kanga, and the fact that they have quite a few good names on the team. It's just whether or not they can make it click. Their first 2 weeks from week 1 to week 2 was a big improvement. Yesterday, I don't know if we can take that as a big sign of where they're going to be, Na'Vi being very good, but NIP is just as good, if not maybe a little better. And we have to look at kind of Chronix, I think, as a player whose name is going to be mentioned, because much like, I want to say, in the wheelhouse of where you would put Rock Monkey.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely up and coming. I mean, we haven't seen DPS play from Chronix in a long time before Kanga joined the PPL, and he's looked absolutely fantastic on it. He's also very flexible. His damage base hasn't shown a lot of flexibility on them specifically, but he's played tanks. You know, he's played healer before for Kanga in other iterations of these rosters, and so Kanga and Chronix himself, I think he's a great leader. Obviously, I don't know what goes on within their team, but he's a veteran. He's been playing Paladins at LANs for so long.
And you can just see, based on these shots, again, angles are played incredibly well. This Kinessa, this is something, again, and I've been mentioning this all split, and I think it does come down to it. Obviously, there's the huge team element in the game, but sometimes you get a guy that can aim really well, and you don't know what to do anymore. It's going to make a big difference. Wasn't quite the look I think they wanted when they switched onto the triple front line, but put him on Leon, put him on Kinessa, and the man's going to do work.
Yeah, I think Chronix is a very good tank, though. We just saw him get a quad right there. I mean, I think,
made it work.
I think him and Joel's are both an interesting pair because I've seen that they flex around between who's playing damage, who's playing tank, based on what they have in the comfort because of how veteran those guys are.
Well, it's been a lot. And then, of course, the other guy that you can see on your screen, someone that was picked up, Kanga, 3 members from the OCE, Oceania region, that you would have seen in the PGS moving up. But Evil Eye has been around for a long time, and this is actually probably one of the bigger name players they picked up. Had a stellar EV game yesterday. Looked phenomenal when he was playing it, but still they weren't able to eke out the win. But I mean, for Blasters, this guy's one of the OGs.
He plays a lot of the Blasters. The main things I've seen him show up on this LAN in the PPL have been this EV and the BK. He also showed a really good Drogue early on in the season, so I like what Avuli's doing. He's also just very aggressive. Like, I feel like Chronix doesn't really bring the aggression when he's on a character like the Kinessa and stuff, and so Avuli really steps it up and puts the pressure on the other team.
If you have someone who's just going to be kind of laying down the law, that's Chronix. Someone who's going to get out there and be the beat cop, I guess, for you, it's going to be Evil Eye. He's down on the streets making sure things work. And that's actually another thing right here, watching the Zen play. Having that flexibility is actually very big. Zen specifically has been very big in a lot of games. I mean, we just saw how important it can be in that last set, on that last map, and on Ice Mines. I kind of want to ask you that specifically. Like, how much of a difference can Zen make here?
Oh, it's huge, and if I'm being honest, you got to get Zen while he's hot because this is the last. This is the last one before the nerf that's coming. So
True.
I think this Zen is a huge pick for both the teams, and I think that they're going to be looking to take huge advantage of it.
Well, Kanga are looking incredibly good. Of course, it's going to be up to their drafting style, I want to say. The kind of the mind behind it, as you would know. Yeah. Hades is the coach here who has been probably providing them a lot of the intel that they need. Of course, the players play their role, but I'm looking at Rhino and Joel specifically. The front lines have been making a pretty big impact today as to whether or not they'll be able to push forward.
They've shown a lot of double aggro comps running Ashe and Ruckus, which is something not a lot of teams have shown, and that's a really interesting look for Kanga.
I mean, yesterday it was actually a very interesting. Again, against Na'Vi, they were all in on the Ashe. I think Ashe was their first pick several times. I can see 3, 4 just in my screen without scrolling down to see game 6 and 7.
They love it.
So they absolutely love it. But of course, I just mentioned him. Hades is their coach. He's the man kind of behind the scenes keeping things running, and we have him standing by. So let's jump to Hades for an interview.
Thank you guys so much. Down here in the Kanga booth, my favorite booth to be in, I gotta say. Tough loss yesterday for sure. After watching that 7-game banger that we just saw, did you guys feel like you learned anything that Virtus Pro kind of exposed, maybe a weakness or two for Na'Vi?
No, I just felt like a different atmosphere. It was really hard to really pinpoint what went wrong. Yeah. It seemed like Na'Vi were just playing differently today, drafting a bit differently, and didn't work out for them.
Yeah, NIP definitely brought the spice yesterday. Na'Vi tried to kind of do the same a little bit, but then they tried to get back to the normalcy. What are you expecting from NIP today, and are you looking to bring any of your own special spice or special sauce today?
Yeah, we're basically looking to just try and avoid whatever they're planning. There's so many things and so many possibilities, really. You can't really say, oh, they're going to pick this, because there's so many good viable picks these days that you can just change a strategy on the fly, and that's what we're going to do.
As a coach, how do you feel about the overall state of the balance of the game right now with so many viable picks?
Yeah, it's extremely viable and balanced. Like I was saying, there's so many options for all the tanks now. And that was one of the biggest downfalls Paladins had in the past, is that you just don't get a good tank, you can't rush. Now you're going to get one no matter what, so it opens up so many possibilities for that last flex, DPS or flank type pick.
Yeah. And with Atlas coming in next week, it's sure to get even spicier. I can't wait for that, guys. Let's get it back up to the desk and get ready for this set.
Versatile right now. Obviously, a lot of front lines that are pretty heavy overall. They either get banned or picked up, usually within the first half of the draft. Ashe was very big. We had mentioned for it yesterday for Kanga. A lot of aggressive front lines. We saw just a Ruckus as well from Chronic. So looking into this, Torvald, something that slipped through a single game last set, probably going to be banned. But do you think we're going to get any spice, any variety out of these front lines, or is it going to be like the Barrack, the Ashe, the Inara, pretty much every game?
I think front lines are going to be pretty standard, and also I don't expect Kanga to really pull out any spice in any capacity. You know, they're a new team, a newer roster. They don't have these depths of picks to pull back on. So I think they're going to be running pretty standard. The question is, will they be able to handle the spice that NIP is for sure going to throw at them?
I mean, we're looking at a team that yesterday was running Ferocity Grover, not something that we've seen in a while. And not many teams have really, I want to say, practiced that aspect of Grover in a long time. But of course, considering we've seen Moji today, we have seen Maeve today, we have seen Dredge today, I feel like we can see a lot of things that are maybe towards the fringe. And of course, when it comes down to it, we have a lot of great minds in Paladins, and one of the originals is going to be Bird. Yeah. And the fact that he is one of the players, I think, kind of facilitating some of the old metas, looking at Ferocity Grover and bringing it into the new.
Yeah, and I think he's really smart about everything, and like the way they use these weird picks is sort of to complement him. He's playing Genos. He doesn't really have the big healing to sustain up his tanks, so they look for other options. They look for, you know, a Grok as a point tank on Ascension, or this Ferocity Grover on Timber and Serpent and Splitstone and all these maps that they're willing to pick him on. And I think he can be credited for that. That was a really awesome preemptive through time and space right there to hit the Eevee. I was mind blown by that yesterday.
And there was actually a lot yesterday that was very Genos heavy coming down from Bird. We've seen him play Ying this split. We've seen him kind of go a little further down the rabbit hole for supports, but it has been very big in giving that Luminary boost, and who else better to receive it than Alex and Bittner? And Alex, I think we got to talk a lot about last week because of some stellar performances. But now looking at Bittner, I mean, he's been one of the big names in the European scene for a long time. Now that everything's on LAN, he became a little bit more frightening because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back at the qualifier LAN a year and a half ago, Elvin Pat saying that Tinner was the best player in the world, and he's been putting up very consistent and very strong performances ever since. I mean, he's won multiple lands. He's been on the top of the scene with Fnatic, with VP, and now with NIP.
Yeah.
So Tenor is really impressive, and he's just as flexible. I think I put him in the same range as Mutu with the sheer flexibility. I mean, he could play these hit scan, these Victors. He could also play the Pip. He played the Grok as a point tank yesterday when let Diggy flex onto the BK. There's a lot of stuff that Tenor's flexibility enables for this NIP roster.
And having that's actually been, I think, the name of this last couple of weeks. It's no longer just how many, do you have a good blaster? Do you have good DPS? Like, how do they work together? It's how deep can you go? How many champions can you play? Flexibility has become so important for a lot of these teams. And Bidner being able to play something like a Grok that came out of kind of nowhere seemingly when I can't even remember, I think it was Grok and Grover on one team, and I was just like, what's going on here?
It's actually
what
Grok
year
Genos.
are we in?
Yeah.
Grok Genos as well.
Yeah. And I mean, that's pretty much just an Ascension Peak strategy. He's able to, contest the point in ways that you aren't able to on other maps.
Well, I think that's a very comfort thing for them, and I think NIP right now, they're comfortable. I mean, they're 4-0 as it is going into today. Kanga are 1-3, so looking to try and balance things out for them, get up to the 2-3 mark, or stay undefeated if you're NIP. A lot of people, I think, voting for this one are leaning more towards the Ninjas in Pyjamas, and it all comes down to just how they start. But we have an interview with Bonker, so let's see how NIP feel.
Well, I'm down here in the NIP booth where everything is being taken very, very seriously. I mean, everyone is just laser focused right now and completely ready for this match that is coming up. Kanga Esports is the team today, Bonker. Undefeated so far. Is there anything different for today's matchup that you guys are preparing?
More jank, I would say, is that we're preparing for.
A lot of viable stuff nowadays. Tenor played a lot of stuff yesterday to kind of keep it going. Mutu's played a lot of stuff for Na'Vi, but they just lost. I've been talking up this matchup between you guys and Na'Vi next week. What are you guys feeling about that now after having seen them defeated?
We're very hyped for the Na'Vi matchup. We think that's going to be the match for us. If we're going to lose anything, it's going to be against them, but hopefully we beat them as well.
So I see a little spoiler alert here on the screen. Shattered Desert looks like map number 1. It's maybe Kanga hitting with you guys with some jank. Are you ready? Is there anything that can be thrown at you that will catch the Ninjas in Pyjamas off guard?
We'll just give them even more jank and we'll win.
Awesome. Well, NIP is certainly confident about the way that they're going to perform here today. The only undefeated team still left in the Premier League that has played all their games. Space Station's technically still 2-0. Let's get it back up to the desk, though, and get this one started.
Some call it jank, some call it cheese. I call it a strategy, and it seems to be working so far for NIP, pulling out things that are just unusual, things people might not expect. I mean, if anyone, I've been joking about it, but at any point in time, if Lex ever comes out, I think they're going to be the team that tries it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
I wouldn't support that.
We might be getting a glimpse into Envy strats right here. Lex, first pick?
Yeah, no. Lex first ban. I don't want that character in any team that I'm
Keep
coaching.
it away from your team as much as possible.
Yeah, and here we see the bans. Kanga banning Frozen and Split, two very similar large maps, and Warders and Ascension bans for NIP. Warders is a huge map. It's been Kanga's first pick in every single set they've played when it wasn't banned. So I like that. Clear NIP has done their homework.
Being able to kind of keep track of that, of course, as Nick said, who would have guessed it is Shattered Desert coming up first. Another map that is not necessarily... Well, actually, I guess it is. It's just very unusual in terms of its layout. You can dance around the point fight very similar to an Ascension Peak, which has been something like you just said, big for Kanga. But the rest of the map doesn't lay out the same way. There's a lot of weird avenues, weird paths, and awkward hills to jump around, and that is something I think we've noticed specifically with like Pip.
Yeah, this map is, well, I honestly don't think Pip's that good on this map. I think Kanga's kind of falling into the habits that they've built up. Like, I mean, they banned Pip in 4 of their 5 games yesterday and picked it in the one that they didn't ban. And so I think they might just be kind of tunnel visioning on that on a map where Pip can really be punished. It's wide open. So if the Pip's sitting out and jumping around, you should be able to punish him. But, you know, if they keep on this way, I think NIP is fully expecting everything they do. And if they looked at the draft from yesterday, they probably expected a Pip.
Bringing out the big
Well,
guns.
Ash, definitely something they highly prioritized yesterday. A couple of players on their team, Joel's, as well as Diggy, make that look very good. Kanga won it, as well as NIP won it, so grab it up first, and then you just get to put Diggy onto Ruckus. Cassie grabbed up here, and Cassie, I think, is probably one of the biggest picks. I was actually very happy to start see her getting banned, because I think she provides something for the team and for the game that not many other champions can really bring.
Yeah, and picking her with the Ruckus is a really good 1-2 punch because Cassie is one of the biggest counters to Ruckus.
Yeah.
That big game Cassie really does a lot to punish him, and so having Diggy be able to just have his way with the backline, not have to worry about that big HP-based damage onto him, is going to look really good for them. Barrick Genos, also another good pick for Kanga. Kanga's looking like a very standard comp that they like.
Well, with Zen Grover locked in there, you can anticipate NIP looking for one more frontline at the very end there. But Barrick, Ash, the 2 priorities picked up. Nara still available. It's probably looking towards that last pick there.
I assume that's going to be Grover for Bird here in this
Bird,
situation.
Yeah.
I don't think you're
Not
going to
the
run
Bird.
Ferocity when you have the Cassie and the Zen. I expect, honestly, NIP to just round this out with an Inara as something as their last pick. I don't know how cheesy you're going to get. I wouldn't pick Fernando.
Can you
on
imagine
Shatter.
a world where that does end up being Ferocity
Triple
Grover and they're
deeps?
trying to like solo frontline Ruckus? That is not typically a good look, but if there's
Not
anyone
really.
that I'd give the card to, I'd probably be NIP as of right now.
And if there's
In
any
this
map
game,
to
you
do it on,
win
it's
or you
Shattered
die.
Desert. This map
There
is
is no
just
middle
kind of a
ground.
clown fiesta. You can almost completely
You
ignore the
trust
point
us and are
and
unwanted,
frag around in an
stranger.
area, but they do end it off with the Inara like I expected.
Well, they're going to be able to round it out. They have their point tank. Everything is looking incredibly good. But of course, the only way to get this one started is to go down to the casters. We've got Dave and Nick standing by to start off Kanga and NIP.
Here we are, standing by. Set number 2 of the day, starting 3 hours after set number 1 started.
long
We had a banger of a set number 1, maybe a banger of a set number 2 in the books. But in order for that to happen, Nick, Kanga's got to overcome, I think, the odds here. I think, the betting man would go for NIP in this case, but
Even
Kanga
I.
have shown.
Even I can
Kanga
put
have
my
shown
chips
that
on
they. That's right, Kanga. They've shown that they can hang them. I think they
Yeah.
have more than a fighting chance here today.
I mean, at this point, they've gotten to see more games than anyone of NIPs.
That's
and,
true.
Ooh, I mean, but what a mountain of a man.
What a Clegane Bowl gets its 3rd member joins them.
That is a real frontline player right there. Bonker leading the charge. Fearless triple chin for NIP. What a monster.
What
So,
a monster.
I think that's
monstrous
it.
man.
I think Kanga, there's just no chance you can stand against that.
Well, when that's sitting across the aisle from you, that brings the
Yeah.
brings the emotional factor into the game as well.
Oof.
I mean, we're dealing with pepper is the spiciest thing in this game right now. Probably the lower end of the spicy scale as far as NIP goes.
Yeah, I think it's because
Cassie and
all the
Ruckus,
spice is the map.
That's
It's
true.
like everyone-
There's
nobody-
too much spice already.
Yeah, nobody really knows quite what's happening on this map.
Right.
I agree with Meta. I think this map is a bit of a cluster at times, if not all of the time. First blood, quickly followed by second blood.
Well, Diggy Dog is going to start things off in a big way. The Ruckus making his way through and making his presence felt already. 1 kill goes back to the opposite side. Bittner's going to end this fight off in a big way for themselves, and Ninjas in Pyjamas find themselves 24% now on the point. The thing that we've seen a lot on this map is a point fight win. I honestly can't get a grasp whether it's like super easy or actually kind of tough to zone on this map because there's like 3 routes that you can come out of.
Yeah, it's a mess.
So it's, I guess it really depends on which way Kanga decide to go about it. When you have Evil Eye on the Eevee as well, always something you have to be aware of. But 96% though, they need to get a touch, and they don't.
So much, off support play from Tenor yesterday. It's easy to forget where he got his start and really who he made his name as, and that's those Cassies, those hit scan stuff. He played with Visheko as one of the backliners for Fnatic, one of the most dominant online teams, and that's an important asterisk that Paladins has ever seen. So he really has built his prowess as a DPS player.
Right.
And frankly, he still is. He's just doing it on those little hybrid support characters. But now back on home base on Cassie, a character that has been ruthlessly banned out, both today and yesterday. It's good to actually see him get some playtime behind the crossbow.
Something you gotta be scared of, you gotta be aware of. He starts hitting his shots. You find that rhythm on Cassie. It could be bad, nearly taking out Joel's there. The bowling ball able to get him away, but the flick shot on Necronix is gonna be good for a kill. The Whirlwind's gonna come out, top off those red health bars. Some other ultimates starting to pop out as well, but Alex is gonna be the one to find the second. Bonker makes it 3 here for Ninjas in Pyjamas, and this could be a successful push the way this is staggered out, Nick.
Very, very good Whirlwind there from Bird. Gets a ton of value. I want to take a quick peek at the healing charts before, and never mind, there is no contest here, but Bird far and away crushing
Doubling
it.
up.
Yeah, he is a monster on the healing charts at the moment. That was a gigantic Whirlwind. He topped Bittner up probably 2 full times and he still almost went down. And that's how team fights happen.
Yeah.
If you invest so much into one target and you just don't get them, and they get their life bar replenished 3 full times, I mean, how could you have anything left for the other 4 members, world-class players of NIP?
Looking at the slash lines, only 2 kills on the side of Kanga in round number 1. Rhino's the one who's going to be finding those. All 5 members of NIP ending on some sort of streak on their side. Only Bird and Diggy Dog have death in hand on the opposite side going into this push. You have the Seismic Crash, the Scout, and the Hexafire on the red side, Enlightenment through time and space, and Assert Dominance on the other.
Yeah, outside of Assert Dominance, I don't know. I'm worried about the rest of Kanga getting value for a lot of these ultimates. 1 for 1, though, is a good way to start this fight.
No, it definitely is. Chronix is going to be the guy to do it, but Evil Eye and Chronix dropping early on, that spells a little bit of danger here for Kanga. Jules is the guy that you're going to have contesting the point right here. Doesn't have too much kill pressure, but once the eyes start to get turned towards him, fortunately, he's going to be the next to fall, but now they're kind of split. They're kind of sandwiched between Jules and the rest of the Kanga lineup here.
It's just, you almost have to move as like a little pod, a little death squad on this map. And right now, a couple of kills going back the way of Kanga. Look at Bird, though. He's just committed to this. I don't know what he sees. He binds over to his teammates to stay alive. The vision is there. He leaves it all on the field, and I think that's good football. That's something Coach is going to love to see.
He's going to love to see it, especially when Blue, though, is on the opposite side. They're going up. 97% are Kanga. Alex is going to be the first to fall. Rhino cleans himself up a kill. Now the Cassie's trying to make a flank here. Bittner's going to be the guy to turn around this fight, but nice play there from Chronix is going to end that one really quick. Bonker on the Inara could be the next to fall. Out comes the Hexafire, though. That's an interesting use of it. Cancels a little bit early. Overtime's going to start ticking away, but down goes Diggy. There's not going to be a contest from Bird as he's going to fall. And Kanga, a big answer there, Nick. Now they're 4 streaked out on their side.
Easy come, easy go here on Shattered Desert in game number 1 between NIP and Kanga. I like what I'm seeing from both squads. Even though they didn't get a lot of kills, they were still hitting a lot of damage. Grover is, man, the way especially NIP are playing it, you can see it's very full commit. Bird was only one of the 2 deaths in that first round for NIP. He's not retreating from these fights. He's not looking for that 25 Geno streak. He's looking to die out on the field and give his boys every last drop of sustain that he possibly can. Alex gets in deep, gets the counter, and whirls back out. Very clean stuff. Remember, they are on defense.
Yeah, they are on defense, but they're getting in on the offensive push here. They're getting deep into the base of Kanga. There's still plenty of time here, 1 minute and 40 seconds left, but you figure if you're on the side of Kanga, you got to win a couple fights here to get back to the payload, get it moving back in the right direction. It's going to start here. The Whirlwind's going to come out here for NIP. It's going to top off the red health bars, keep them ready and fighting for the engagement, but not really a lot of counter engagement coming out from Kanga. Looks like they were okay to just kind of let that one wear out. And both teams just kind of poking at each other. This is in favor, I think, of NIP. The longer this just kind of drags out and these guys are just kind of poking at each other, Kanga's just losing time to push the payload.
Indeed they are. Alex continues to find frags in the backside of this fight. Brand new Zin skin that he is rocking and rolling with. That certainly can't hurt. And if you want to pick that bad boy up, you probably can. Look at that from downtown. Austin Rhino finds a cheeky shoulder bash.
Hello, but unfortunately his life is going to get traded out.
Look at the wall, the peel.
The wall, the peel. Evil Eye sees right through it, though, drops Bittner. Here are the kills that you needed if you're on the side of Kanga. 40 seconds left, though. Essentially not much time left on their side.
I don't know. That's something bonkers really starting to change about the frontline game, too, is in NIP in general, just the dedication. Look at the way Bird just dives and suicides to give his guys more heal.
Yep.
The way he's playing that wall just to give Bittner a couple seconds to maybe live. We never know what could happen. The way NIP, they are like a real Spartan phalanx. They care about the life of the guy next to them so much because everyone has played such a critical role in their success.
Well, Evil Eye is going to put a damper on that success at the moment. He finds 2 before he falls. That's 2 for 2 so far to start off this fight. The respawn in favor of Kanga. The overtime is going to start ticking away. Still a good distance to go here, so don't imagine either team would really start to invest way too much here unless the kills start to roll. Remember, this payload does get moving really fast once it's around this corner. It's kind of a downhill rush into the base of NIP. Alex is going to stop out the the push at the moment, though. With Rhino going down, it's going to be tough to contest, but Chronix is the guy you always have to look out for. A double from him, and damage to make 3 for Joel's. That's 2 for him as well. A double from Chronix, a double from Joel's, and now the payload is on the downward trend towards the base of NIP.
That is the second time today I have seen Barrick being too short to be shot over the top of the payload, and it literally making a gigantic difference in the state of the game. It was on Frog Isle in that last set. Akate missed 3 snipes onto Barrick just because he didn't have an angle on the damn dwarf behind the rock. Now moving it closer and closer. First pick goes to NIP.
That's tough. Evil Eye going down. That's going to be very tough to come back from. Defended successfully, it is. That was so close to going through here for Kanga. That's a big difference between 3-1 and 2-2, especially on this map. No room for error now on the side of Kanga. They have 4, almost 5 ultimates ready for them. Looking similar on the opposite side as well. And the trend kind of continues where Kanga, despite being on the losing end of some of these games, actually look really good. They have these moments of brilliance where it looks like they could end up taking it all.
They're very, very close. I think a good bit of it is still maybe, and this isn't a great excuse, it's just the one I'm choosing to use. And I think you could make the, if NIP were in the situation Kanga, and you can make the same excuse for Diggy Dog just getting into this role or whatever you want to say. But I think, you know, it is a little bit of a new role for Chronix to be playing. Hard and fast DPS. He's played a lot of stuff for Kanga. For Joel to be like pretty much locked into aggro, tank, slash sometimes point tank. I don't think the roles are as clearly defined for Kanga as they have been in the past.
Maybe coming out to play. He's definitely made his presence felt, though, on that true and hard and fast DPS. He constantly towards the top of the damage charts. That Enlightenment's going to be good. The Spite, though, is going to be good as well. Back onto the opposite side. 2 kills coming up for Red right now. Alex is going to continue getting up into the face of Kanga. They need to make a push now with 75% on the clock. It looks like it's going to be it, unless they're able to get back and get a touch. Rhino's going to be able to kill 1, but he's going to drop in the meantime. It looks like NIP, you're going to claim game number 1.
Wow, pretty quick and clean there.
Yeah.
I think NIP sort of all business as usual here for them. 4-1. That was Kanga's map pick as well. They just kind of stole one on the away court there on the road, so to speak. So they're going to be coming back to their home map pick, wherever they want to go next, as well as getting choice of first or second pick on said map. So NIP in a good spot in game number 1.
Well, hanging in there are Kanga, but NIP taking game number 1 of the day. Let's send it back to Gore and Meta on the desk.
Well, they're able to come through and, well, they do the thing. Ash did not quite do as well as they could, and Kanga did not quite hit, I want to say, the stride they wanted to on the map they picked.
Yeah, I mean, that was a tough game. Even though it was their map pick, I thought NIP had a clear plan of what they wanted. The Cassie and the Zen combination for this damage, just really, really good on that map. Zen's able to flank for free, use that really long billow duration, RIP whenever on live, to get way, way back to safety. And the Cassie has just proven that she's one of the premier damage picks that you could possibly have in the game.
And you can just see Evil Eye actually had some pretty stellar moments. Joel's doing a lot of damage himself. Same thing with Chronix, 251 Ks on the side of Kanga. But then you look at the slash lines and they don't quite tell the story you want. Alex and Bittner, on the other hand, 12-3 or 12-6 and 11-3. So obviously Zen making a huge impact. And again, something that we are seeing a lot of, and like you said, probably get it in as long as you can, because that billow is not going to last forever the way it has been. But actually, flanks like this are really where he's been shining. And on this map, he had kind of a lot of flexibility to wander around.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you know, there were some moments of light there from, really good. I remember I was loving that when I saw that. But moments of brilliance from Kanga this set. They had it. If you're looking for some bright moments, you're trying to find where they did well. They punished Bird really, really good on the Grover. I think this is the first time he's played Grover, and I think he went 1-9. So there was a lot of pressure from the Kanga damages and the aggro tank also I know on that Ashe onto him. And so I think that's a potential, a light in the darkness that you can potentially try and focus on and find some ground to stand on later on in the set. If you can cut off the healing, frustrate Bird, you know, there's potential. I think Kanga, they had a little bit going for them there.
Unfortunately for them, though, that was a 4-1 for NIP on their map pick for Kanga, so it is going to be a little shakier going into the next map. But they still have a lot to work with. It seems like you had said earlier, NIP have been doing their homework. They know not only good maps, good drafts for those maps, but also the ones Kanga are strong on. And looking at the way that specifically NIP have been playing, there's something about their style that it's just hard to place a finger on as to why it's different. It's just more aggressive. They have the flanks. Like, they're very confident in everything they do, and I feel like it's bleeding through into their play.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, if I'm NIP, I'm taking them to a good pit map because they're most likely going to be second pick. You know, there's a general trend for the league that when you have map choice, you're taking first pick. It gives you a lot of choice to dictate which way draft go in the bans.
Yeah.
And with Kanga showing this pattern of banning or picking Pip, then they can really put them in a bad position as second pick. And Serpent Beach, a really good pit map. So are Kanga going to ban it? Are they going to give Bittner the chance to run it?
Yeah.
Because he looked amazing on it every time he's had it.
It's a very dangerous game to be playing when Pip is in the equation. We've already looked at it a few times through the game. We've counted around a minute and a half usually for that ult to come up, and that's assuming you have no morale boost coming in either. So definitely looking for a Pip here.
Something telling me they're going to give it to Kanga, and they're going to have a
a counter
pick ready, maybe a pocketed Andro or something to really get up on him and punish him.
Do you show the counter to one of the things that you've made look really strong here as NIP? Well, they ban out Cassie immediately, which to me means that potential for a Ruckus to come through on this map, not really outlandish for NIP with their draft, but definitely something they can look into. And also, Ruckus, I feel like we've seen banned a little more often in these last few days than we have kind of in the weeks prior.
The interesting thing about banning Ruckus is that Ashe and Ruckus really function as the two best aggro tanks, and so if you ban Ruckus and you can get Ashe, you're pretty much forcing the other team onto two passive tanks, or like maybe a Fernando, who is kind of on the bottom end of the aggro tank tier list right now. NIP are going to ban out the Barrack, though. This signals to me that they're probably going to want to early pick Inara. You ban out, there's the two big point tanks, Inara and Barrack. You ban one of them out, and you give yourself undeniable point pressure.
Undeniable point pressure. And of course, you cause maybe a little bit of trouble for Kanga as you whittle down what front lines there are. Ashe has still been very big for Kanga. They actually leave the Khan open this time around. They get to grab that. So Khan and Nara, definitely a combo we've seen several times, and we've seen be successful several times if they look for that in the future.
Yeah, there's the ever-present Ashe for Kanga.
Here.
The Nara pick as well. I'm cool with it because I don't think you want to give Khan and Nara, like you mentioned, to NIP, but I am a little concerned if Khan's going to be able to yoink her and throw her way off the map. It's going to be a tough game for Jules.
Genos has been really big in the last couple of sets, and specifically I think he's always really big with Eevee, even though it didn't quite go Kanga's way that last map. Evil Eye still looked really good because Eevee does just so much damage. And I think we, had mentioned it before, but it kind of gives her like that extra one shot, maybe two shots you can take that you normally wouldn't be able to live through. But it doesn't seem to be doing too much. I mean, Kanga probably a little more worried here as NIP drafted that one in.
Yeah, Bird was looking real happy right there.
a little uncomfortably happy, right?
I mean, I think he's looking at their comp and he's saying, hey, we've got Khan, Eevee, Genos, Ruckus is still up on the table. This is an incredibly aggressive composition, and it's something that I think will be able to punish this Pip well. I do like the Grover and the Pip combination. It's one of my favorite supports to pair with the Pip. Obviously, people think about the Genos, but Pip really makes a lot of use of the passive healing with Moxie that Grover provides. He becomes like impossible to kill. We saw Knights run this comp a lot on Serpent Beach, and it was actually crazy watching Payan hop around in the middle of the team, just getting those Grover heals and being impossible to kill.
I mean, Moxie gives such an enormous amount of healing to someone that you would think might be easy to break down, but Pip, not only with the Grover, but really just on his own, can take 1v1, so Eevee probably looking to lock him down. Maybe the Tyra that's coming in and trying to lock him down. But how do you feel about this? I mean, Tyra's not usually something we see picked anymore.
No, especially not on Serpent. She really hurts with her lack of potential to take any high ground at all. But they do have a lot of damage boosts. When you think about any of these four characters on NIP having a Genos boost and being shooting somebody who has that hunting mark bonus damage put on them, they are going to die. If you mark the Pip, he's not going to be able to peek out and get his poke off. He's going to have to sit back and play passive. So I like it. I think that, if this wasn't NIP, I'd be a little bit more hesitant. But, I mean, how can you not trust them?
Well, Zen over Leon for that last pick for Kanga as they lock it in, they close it out. Do you have either draft that you're leaning a little bit more towards?
I like Kanga's draft, but I can't deny NIP.
Yeah.
I think they're going to take this one.
I think that's the way to look at it. NIP are just really good. Kanga kind of had to prove that not only can their drafting be as solid as it is, but they can play the draft as solid as it is. Inara, Ashe, Grover, Pip, Zen on the side for Kanga, but the Eevee Genos has been a threat. Ruckus has been comfortable for Diggy Dog. So NIP obviously in the driver's seat right now. This is their map pick. The question is whether or not they can close it out a little faster than the 4-1 they had the map before. If you had to give it to someone, you're leaning NIP?
I'm leading NIP, for sure.
They're definitely looking like the team to beat as of right now. Again, 4-0. If they win this one, 5-0 in the league. Is that going to be enough? Can they keep it going? Well, as of right now, they're up 1. We're just going to have to go through the game. See if they can keep this going as we go down to Dave and Nick to take us through Serpent Beach.
Serpent Beach it is. Game 2, though, and I noticed that Kanga took the pip away from the young tenor on the opposite side.
Took his whole champion.
They took his
Grover and Pip.
Oh no!
He's a two-trick.
He's a two-trick spicy pony. That's always good.
Yes, sir. I love the point that Meta brought up, though. All that damage.
Yeah.
Luminary and Hunting Party.
Yeah.
Given the performance of Alex on this map, on this character yesterday, the Eevee was phenomenal. And I don't think there's really any hit scan threat that's going to change that here for Alex in game number 2 of today's set either. He gets that Luminary, he gets onto a Hunter's Mark target. I think he is going to be probably the sole win condition for this NIP squad.
Well, we haven't seen Tyrogenos come out too much in the past. Or in the past, I should say. We have seen it come out a lot, Tyrogenos, but not so much recently. People getting smart. Unfortunately for Alex, if the attention gets turned to him, he's not going to be alive to do too much damage. And that's all the space Kanga needed to retake the point at the moment. Rhino's going to do a good zoning job here, get the Ruckus and the rest of the
This is awkward.
Ninjas in Pyjamas crew pushed back. They have the high ground, and that's, well, one of the most important parts of this map.
This is being played really, really nicely by Kanga right now, but they lose Joel. And that is a struggle. Their plan is just like this little death ball going around the map. They don't really have a throughput healer, though. They've just got this Grover and this Pip. It's 2 big, chunky burst heals that are on like 10, 12-second cooldowns. So they're going to have to play carefully around that with an Aura.
Well, they had all their attention turned towards the Khan right now, and in the meantime, Diggy was able to put out the damage onto Evil Eye, onto that Pip. We've seen what he can do on the Eevee, but what does he do on the Pip? Unfortunately for the Kanga side, Ninjas in Pyjamas were able to turn just a couple kills into point number 1 here for him. Bonker and Chronix are going to trade a couple kills back on their side. Make that 2 for the Xin here in this fight.
And that's
1-0
scary,
now.
because I don't think we've seen the full force of this NIP comp. When it gets rolling, it's going to be so scary. Here comes the crossfire from Alex. A complete window of opportunity. No shield. The dash was too late. Osorano just gets melted to pieces. And that's fine, because that's one of those ultimates. So is Ice Storm, frankly. And so is Through Time and Space. And so is Hexafire, really. None of those ultimates are going to be easy to get value out of. Like, if you get 1 kill with a crossfire all game, I think that's fine. I think that's plenty. If you melt a shield or something and get half somebody's health, I think that's also fine. Like, these are hard to get kills with.
They're hard to get kills with, but it works out in his favor that time. The Ice Storm's going to find some damage for Alex. No kills just as of yet. Bonker, though, is going to hit the long-range shots onto Jera. Evil Eye as well is going to fall. There's lots of kills coming up for the side of NIP right now. Diggy Dog just firing away from the top rope right now. It's going to be down to Jules on the Inara. They're going to just stagger him out a little bit. A clean team fight there from Ninjas in Pyjamas. Gets this payload moving forward. Kanga's found some pressure. Rhino, Jared, Jules, Chronix, all of them having some kills under their belt, but unfortunately just more offensive presence on the side of NIP right now.
And that's the ex-Australian going up against his former boys. Here comes the Spite on the high ground. No way he gets that whole thing off. Alex comes back and bails it out. Laser Beam is ready to go. Bird looks like he could be lining something up if there's anything left to shoot.
It's not going to be, though.
And not at all. My goodness.
He was eyeing it, decided he didn't need it. Alex finds himself, too, to push that one in.
And what I was going to bring up was the fact that this is the type of comp from Kanga that wants to win quickly.
Yeah.
Now that they are down 0-2, I don't know that they'll win. I think they're too reliant on the healing. And Xin is not a very high DPS character as far as flanks go. He's really like survivability is his kind of thing. And his autos are so easy to hit that the balance is he can't do a ton of DPS. His autos are too easy to hit. He has too much survivability in his kit. They need to win off the fact that they have an incredible amount of tankiness, mitigation, sustain, whatever you want to label it as. That's what they've got going for them, and those are the types of comps that fall off once Cauterize comes online, once Wrecker comes online, things like that.
Well, there's COT 2 for 4 members of NIP right now, so that's going to be a big mitigating factor.
Hey, boy.
Down comes the banner as well from Kanga, so they want to start this on the right foot, but Diggy Dog is going to find 2, and unfortunately that's going to flip things back around onto the side of NIP. They're in the front foot now on this fight. Alex is going to clean up 1. Now it's going to be the Ruckus against Chronix.
I mean,
who's
Diggy
not
killed
going to
everyone.
get the end of the fight there, and Diggy didn't get all the kills, but he got most of the damage in that fight. The 14 streak Ruckus is all NIP needs.
I mean, he's been a big topic of conversation for NIP. Was the first player to internationally be imported from Australia to play on this largely Swedish team in NIP, and switched roles this season to play that sort of off aggro tank, and he has been a phenomenal addition to the NIP, or phenomenal, I think, flexible asset to the NIP lineup.
Well, he's a man of few words, but he lets his play do the talking, and that's the case here again today. Eviline and Chronix are going to buy some time for their team, though. They have the fast cap ready to potentially get on the point here and get something rolling in their favor. But
alas,
the
but
con
no
is
tank to cap it.
Yeah, I was going to say the con is just enough to get in their face. Finally, Rhino comes back. He's going to get on the point. His banner slowly inching towards the NIP guys. Chronix needs to stay alive here. If he falls, this will certainly spell the end of this offensive push here from them. And they just kind of back off. Bonker finds Rhino. He's not able to stay alive. The spite is going to be good for 1 on the side of Chronix, so that buys some time as well.
Barked up and corralled, though. Diggy Dog throws down another Hexafire. Quickly canceled to follow up on the damage. He doesn't care about killing people with his ultimate. He doesn't care about getting the whole thing off. When it's time to let loose and get off the Hexafire and start chasing people again, he doesn't hesitate, and he plays it perfectly.
Does not hesitate for a moment. The Crossfire getting some more value than maybe he was even expecting to get out of it on the side of the Tyra. Found a kill and then about half a health bar worth of damage. Out comes the Overpower. Off the map goes Rhino.
Oh, no.
Here's the Whirlwind, though. Kanga looked like they could try to maybe fight back, but the Whirlwind's just a little bit reactionary. No real healing left when there's no teammates left to heal. Diggy Dog with another couple for himself. And NIP, well, Nick, they're looking really good. They're rolling to a 4-0.
This might be an unstoppable map. I mean, they thrashed Virtus Pro on this map yesterday. They are currently in the middle of thrashing Kanga here as well. NIP might just have a guaranteed map in any set they play as soon as they go to Serpent Beach. They are looking flawless on this map. And this is a very different composition than the one they ran yesterday.
That's very true. Very true. Looking different, but, well, more of the same in the sense that the outcome's going to be the same. The lineup's going to be different. But Diggy Dog going to continue his tear on this Ruckus. At some point, you have to wonder, do we let him get on this Ruckus? We've seen Ruckus banned and picked out in most of the games here. But Diggy's just looking like an unstoppable force on it. Kanga buy themselves some time here. A few kills. They have the Assert Dominance and the Evil Mojo as well.
Dude, again, yesterday I made a comment about Alex's gum chewing. You can see the rhythm of how fast he's chewing based on what he's doing in game. And if it's a blink in moment, he's chewing faster. Oh man, it's a funny thing to notice. But everyone's got their game face. Everybody does something stupid with their face when they're concentrating. If you've ever streamed with a face cam, you've subjected yourself to being made fun of for that type of thing. Quick Ice Storm comes out. It's going to lock Chronix down, but Dave more or less accomplishes nothing.
Does not accomplish anything except for him dying on the back end of it. 27 seconds left here, though. Kills getting traded back and forth so far. NIP still a good bit of distance to go, but we've seen how fast they can commit on a fight. Essentially end a game in this case. 4 blue at the top of damage, followed by 5 red. The bottom of the damage charts there. Diggy Dog 11-3 as of right now. 11-3 and 10. I mean, you have to mention the assists as well.
Yeah, yikes.
Effectively a 7 KDA for him at the moment.
That's a big number.
That's a large number for himself.
Oh, no.
Bonker Bittner finding a couple. Chronix is going to be able to answer back with one onto Bird, but if these kills keep coming up blue, this could spell a 4-0 here. The Whirlwind's going to come out, but Cauterize is going to stop a lot of it. Jera, unfortunately, is going to fall, and that looks like it is going to be the end of it. Hello, Alex. A double kill for you is going to send potentially Kanga back to game number 3.
There it is, another Hexafire. Could be the last Hexafire. CC immunity. Diggy Dog puts his foot down and sends his old team to a 2-0 or a 0-2 in this set, I guess I should say. Great stuff there from NIP.
Yeah.
All around, though. Interesting little note right at the end there when Alex blinks up over kind of that wall to just capitalize on that low HP's in. That's another element that we don't talk a lot about with Hunting Party and
Mm-hmm.
Tyra marks is the vision. Like, you can't sneak up on anyone.
Right.
Zin's constantly marked out. Even if he retreats, everyone knows right where he's going to be. And it's almost like it takes a factor of communication out that you don't have to tell Alex where he is. You just show him.
Right. Another strong aspect of a really strong kit. Up 2-0, go NIP. Let's send it back to Gore and Meta Pusher for their thoughts.
Well, NIP are good, are really my base thoughts on that one. It is incredible to see what this team is able to accomplish. And of course, I want to actually kind of levy this to you because we were talking about the Tyra a little bit going into this, and there are so many things to highlight in this, but I just want to talk about Bittner's Tyra and how you think it just performed.
I think it was amazing. I mean, I thought he did it really well, and also I feel like when Tinner's playing this Tyra, he can kind of take a backseat role and be like, you know, it's like a target this person. He marks them, and you send out the dogs, and all three of them just go crazy aggro and just go frag whoever's got that mark on them. I thought it worked really well with their playstyle in this map. It opened up a lot of space for Alex, like Pretty Here was just talking about. Having the vision on these characters that he's blinking and trying to get shots on just makes him that much more accurate and that much more guaranteed. Not to mention the bonus damage he's going to be getting on the shots, and this crossfire just eating these tanks like it's nothing.
I mean, there was a week there where all we were talking about was kind of Luminary Genos plus Hunting Party Tyra, and the two of them as opposition, and not how often we got to see them if they were paired together, how much damage you could do. But I mean, you put a Luminary onto one person, get a mark onto somebody on the opposing team, and tell anybody who has that boost to look at them, they're not going to live very long.
And where's
I
the
think that's the
backline
best way to say it. I mean, there's
I'm-
just no pressure.
Yeah, I'm watching these clips, and I don't know what Chronix is doing on the Zen. Why is he not pressuring? Is Bittner out? Tinner's sitting on the ground floor underneath their
he's
high
Tyra.
ground, just sitting there firing. They need to have some backline pressure. If you're gonna pick the Zen, it needs to be effective, and it needs to make that Tyra at least a little bit less safe. She's a hard target to kill because she can mark you, she can lifesteal. She has that lifesteal in her kit and a really big HP pool. But you can at least force her out, make her fall back, make her get more healing from the Genos that NIP had.
I think we've said this in the past about other teams. I think it applies just as much here as it does to anyone who's been at the top. It's always dangerous when you look at their player cams and they're just laughing, they're having fun, they're relaxing. Like, they are up 2 games. Even if they lose 2 in a row, which I'm going to say based on the 4-0, 4-1, a little unlikely, but even if they did, I feel like the most you'll see is maybe a transition from fun time to game time. Overall, NIP seem like they are very happy with it.
Shaka, bruh.
Shaka, brah.
Bunker's
Lock
having
them
fun.
down.
Yeah, and I mean, they
They're
talked
good.
about the jank beforehand. Really haven't seen that much jank from them, these two. The Tyra is a little janky, but it's really not too far off. We've seen a lot of other teams do it. Fish Market here, an interesting pick for Kanga. This map is jank epitomized.
Jank
You
central.
can run anything. We've seen so many different types of comps run. We've seen triple tank. Kind of sucks. Don't pick that NIP. But we've seen
Don't go
quad
that far.
DPS. You know, I mean, when
Sure.
it goes back in the history of Fish Market, any comp can work, man. It's so wide open. The points are so, it's weird. The points down in that little valley with all these little ledges and stuff looking over it. If Nip's bringing out jank, it's coming this one. If they win no tanks, I would not be surprised.
And honestly, this is one of those areas, and I kind of want to ask, I mean, because of how, I want to say, unstable Fish Market is in terms of, consistent drafts, do you think that actually plays more to NIP, or do you think that gives Kanga like an even playing ground to kind of come in on?
I don't know, man. I think NIP is really happy on this map, but maybe Kanga has some secret
strat
ready to go. I think maybe it evens the ground if they do decide to go for the jank, but if they just play standard and NIP is able to freely jank their way, I need to just come up with a different term.
word.
I've said that 7 times in the past 30
Well,
seconds.
I'm going to tell you, cheese doesn't make it sound any better.
We'll come up with a different
If
phrase
they can
for it.
figure out an interpretive strategy, that's not that much better, but something like that, then maybe they got something.
Alternative, maybe.
Alternative. That's much better of a word.
I was thinking
wanna pick your
interpretive
brain.
dance. When you
Interpretive dance. I mean, that would work too. I wouldn't mind seeing an IP
Yeah.
do an interpretive dance going through this set. I kind of want to ask you, though. I want to roll it back to November. Game 6, you're
That was
going
a
to
good
Fish
time. I
Market.
love that.
Yeah, that's a good time for you. You're going to Fish Market, and it's actually your team up against Na'Vi. Like, what's kind of the strategy once you see Fish Market in your mind? Obviously, the meta has changed, but like, what's going through your head when you see this map?
For us, we knew that Na'Vi had been banning Fish Market a lot in the matches and the sets leading up to that. So when they picked it, we were very, very confident. We were a little bit, we weren't as comfortable on it as we would like to be, but we knew that they were equally uncomfortable. And when the momentum's in your favor and both teams are slightly uncomfortable, I think the team with that momentum behind them has a huge advantage.
Oh, yeah. And if you're wondering, Na'Vi, I think outside of that set, still are banning Fish Market. Like, they banned it during their last set. I think they banned it yesterday as well. So definitely something to kind of keep your eye on. Fish Market has been a no-go for them, and it's for good reason. And it's because when you look at this map, it's just all over the place.
Huge.
I think we've even
sidelines,
seen, granted, I think it was like G2 versus Splice, but we've seen 4 supports here.
Yeah, that was, we're not seeing that. That was a troll. But there's so much things about this map that changes things. The Ash pick that you almost always see on Battering Ram or Fortress Breaker. Slug shots, amazing on this map. You're able to poke out DPS from a range that rivals their own range. So I like the Ash pick. I wonder if he will go Slug. I haven't seen that from Rhino at all in the PPL, but it would be an interesting and a switch up that I appreciate.
I mean, it's definitely something we've seen. I actually think a lot of the players on Ash specifically have had that flexibility. I feel like Kanga's kind of one of the only ones right now that aren't necessarily looking at the other talents when they might be a little bigger of an option overall. But Cassie locked in for Kanga. NIP, this is a map where we have seen Leon, obviously, in the past, and of course they have Leon players. We've seen Eevee, but we've also seen Strix and Kinessa. Do you think a sniper is going to be likely here now that, well, never mind.
I don't think so.
They cut me off before I could finish it.
Don't discount it, because triple DPS is a very viable strategy, and NIP has a very solid base to build the triple DPS comp around. They have the option, since they have these 4 picks, they can choose to flex their last onto a tank if they potentially want that, or they could go for a damage and just look to play super aggressive. And I think honestly, I don't know what Kanga's going to take in their last 2, but I'm thinking triple DPS is looking very likely for NIP.
I mean, it's definitely something they could do. And this is actually, roll it back about a year. This is one of the maps that makes that look really good. Fnatic like to run triple DPS on this map, and I think that was kind of the starting point of what became a triple DPS meta for a little bit. So it's still open.
Yeah.
But
Dompa
now
Zen,
Kanga's closed theirs,
Yeah, they've got a pretty standard draft. I think if I'm NIP, I'm thinking, I was going to say Maeve, but they do have the Cassie. So I don't know if you want the Maeve. I think that matchup is playable. Just because the ults counter each other out doesn't mean you can't pick it, but they do go for the Pip, and we do have triple deeps.
We get triple DPS, but not in the way that we thought we were going to get it. I'm going sniper, you're going for flanks.
Yeah.
And, well, I guess it depends on which side of the argument are you on.
Pip
Pip
is
is
more
more
than a sniper, so I think I win that one, Gore.
Yeah, I know, and I think...
Especially when it's Tenor.
Pretty much all of Reddit also agrees with you on that one. And Tenor, what was his tweet 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, where he finished a Pip game and he says, "I love making fried chicken."
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's about all. That's all you need to know about his Pip.
And there's a lot of good chicken targets here. I think he's got a good spot. I think he's going to be able to charge his ult really, really quickly on these mids off that Inara who's trying to contest the point. And I think NIP's in a really good position. I love their draft.
I mean, it is an incredibly solid lineup coming through. Kanga, I mean, also have something that's very good for them in terms of like the Barrack
That's
Inara,
a huge pick for Chronix that he hasn't gotten a lot.
And that's actually something that can swing games in your favor. But can it swing Fish Market? One of the more fringe maps. We'll have to go down to Dave and Nick to find out.
Ooh, it's suddenly smelling a little fishy in here, Nick. We're up by the sea. Fish Market is where we are. That's where we are. Not a map that we get to see too often. When you see it, a little spice comes out on the side of NIP.
Yeah.
Get their triple DPS comp. You get Bittner on the back on the Pip as well. That's
Pepper.
That's Pepper, right? All right. Let's try to. We'll call it Pepper. We'll call it Pepper the entire game.
Oh man,
I'm gonna forget immediately, almost off the bat.
Well,
Guaranteed.
I just realized I asked Gore all about. I guess it's just because it got doo-dooed on so hard, but I didn't get to say yeet once. Casting Harpoon, Hurl Dredge.
Oh, well, right.
I just
not in that
talked
game.
about how I was going to say yeet, and then I never did.
Well, now you said yeet twice.
Well,
so whoever's keeping
not
track.
a good, just full-bodied like
Yeah,
the ones I really
Once.
like to give the people at home. I know that's why everyone's showing up.
It's true.
You can't give them what they want.
And you had a blank check to read over. There you go. 3 yeets.
Yeets.
The official count is 3.
That was Blake just had that ready.
Did you not see it before?
I didn't.
Yeah, they had the yeet counter on the bottom left when you were talking about it in the last set.
Oh, if I knew that.
You were at 0 though. This is
God
the updated
bless
yeet
it.
counter. They showed it on screen. I guess you didn't know.
It's the type of on-the-fly, just graphics you didn't know you needed until they were there. So shout-outs to Blake. Above and beyond, as per usual, our production squad. They stay with these memes,
They do.
They make sure that,
They keep them going.
every broadcast is fresh and current. and they're giving you the best of the best at all
They
times.
keep it moving forward. And in the background of the Yeet chat, we saw Kanga jump out to a really quick lead. But then a clean team fight from NIP flips it on its head, and they grab the first 420. Oh, 420. Is that what he's hitting for on his?
Oh, big 420s.
But I guess it depends on the range. It has to be
right
just
now.
the right spot. But this is a hard map to break a zone on. I mean, they're not going the traditional full court press that we talk about. But if you ride that ridge line on the top of the hill, this payload is essentially home and dry before you even have a chance to defend it.
Yeah, I mean, look at the glorious silhouette of Bonker right now, riding the payload with both of his turrets. And he's got a triple kill. I mean, he almost picks up the Quadra right as you're talking about it.
Wait, what?
Diggy Dog kind of steals away a couple there, but it is the full team wipe from NIP. Kanga Esports, not a prayer here. And they have historically not been very good on Fish Market. I will say that.
Yeah, well, NIP are looking great on it at the moment. Only Pepper not on the streak. That's one for me. Here comes the Ice Storm, but Alex gets killed right out of it. That's going to be a nice turnaround from Evil Eye. Diggy Dog, though, on the Leon now. He's taking his talents to the long-range DPS from the Ruckus and picking up exactly where he left off. Bittner, they're trying to get this one pushed through. Jules on the Inara, keeping himself alive. So at the moment it's stalled out, but Nick, with 1 minute and 10 seconds left, somebody just needs to breathe on this to get it pushed through.
And right now, Tenor gets kind of juggled around a little bit, almost gets taken
Ooh,
down.
hello.
But it is Diggy Dog that will surge forward off the back of 2 kills. They could just Evil Mojo this Inara or blow her up at this juncture, and the payload would go right on through.
Yeah, the dome shield is out, but it's going to run out in the meantime. Jules goes down. In goes the payload. Bittner finds himself a double. NIP is rolling right now. Only 4 deaths on their side. Diggy Dog undying up to this point. 13 kill streak for him.
And it's not only some of these champions, but man, this is just a completely different style, and they have so many different backgrounds of what these players have played in the past. And this is called Catch Me Riding Dirty, featuring Bonker.
I was so confused when it happened. Out of nowhere, a triple kill popped up, and he was just chilling on the payload with his turrets.
With the boys.
With just me and my boys chilling on the payload.
I'm with my boys! And 3 shots later, he finds the triple.
God, my ears are ringing.
Easy. Hey, man,
easy for the boys.
You stepped into the dojo with me.
That's true.
You had
I
to
think
get a little bit loud here, brother.
It's the tight top bun for Bonker.
Oh, yeah.
Making things, keeping his brain free and clear from any hair issues on their side. NIP off to a hot 2-0 start. They've now won 6 points straight. If you're looking at Serpent Beach, it's game number 2. Out comes a Dread Serpent. That's going to be good for a couple fears, but Evil Eye's only able to turn around the damage onto 1. Bittner's just bouncing around. He's utilizing that weightlessness so well.
Almost died there. Tucks into the boxes. He'll be able to get his little self-heal action. Fast cap is online for Kanga Esports, but that does not take away from the fact that they are still struggling. A lot of these ultimates at a very low charge. All they've got is Enlightenment versus an Assert Dominance, so could still go either way. Resources not overly skewed in one direction.
Playing on potential game point. Down comes the banner. There's Yeet number 4. Oh, but that's a nice heal from Bittner, keeping Pepper alive at the moment. Pepper's going to trade out a kill onto Evil Eye. That's a 1-for-1, each trading out their lives. But that's all that's going to really come out of it. In the meantime, though, Kanga with the fast cap are on the point, so showing some signs of life here. Ooh, Chronix ducking around the corner from the Enlightenment. I don't think that connected on anyone there from Diggy. Really just looking for the Cassie, having a pretty decent impact, but maybe not what he's looking for at the moment. Here comes the Seismic Crash. That's going to stun out 1. 97% on the point. Oh, but Diggy Dog not missing. Down goes Jules as well. Oh, but it's getting traded back, Nick.
Chronix is able to find it. Now he will pop Global Vision for his squad. Whether or not that's critical for this fight is yet to be seen. So far, Alex soars in, grabs 2, grabs 3. Bird finds the 4th. And that's done and dusted. Nobody left to stand and contest for Kanga Esports.
I mean, it's kind of an open-ended question, but is it? Yeah. Let me really set you up with a hard one here. What I mean, is it just that everything's really going right for NIP right now, or is there something that's going wrong for Kanga that you kind of identify? Or, I mean, NIP, you're just playing clean.
The way I think about these 3 DPS comps, it's like we are going to come out, we're going to win this fight. And Kanga Esports have drafted a little bit more of a passive comp. When you have this Damba pocketing the Inara, you can afford to just like kind of bounce around, poke people.
Right.
You go out, you push your Inara onto the objective, you're pocketing her, you're just juicing her with HP while she's got Earth and Guard up. You maybe get 15, 20, 30% on a good day. That's fine. Then you just kind of rinse, repeat, you do it again. But NIP are just moving around this map with so many different angles that they don't have. You can't do that. Put your foot in the water, take it back out. Put your foot in the water. It's like the water is splashing everywhere. NIP are making sure that there is no comfortable respite for Kanga Esports to backpedal into. They are constantly keeping up pressure from multiple angles here. They have a lot of ultimates, like the Evil Mojo can literally just get Inara off the objective, which kind of takes a lot out of that strategy, which has otherwise worked in the past. Pip hasn't really been a big part of any meta until now.
I think especially on a map like Fish Market, I mean, that's kind of what you were describing, is the movement, utilizing the map. But this is traditionally a map that when it starts rolling in one team's favor, well, it's kind of hard to climb back up the mountain if you're on the opposite side. Bonker's going to open up this fight with the first kill onto Rhino. Chronix is going to be the next to fall. Enough kills start to steamroll out here for the boys in red. This could be it. Another 4-0 on the map, potentially. Alex dashing in, trying to clean up the last one. Evil Eye's going to keep himself alive. The respawns are going to come out here for Kanga. 40 seconds left, though. Still plenty of time. The Dome Shield could spell the end of it, and it does. NIP win 8 straight points and win 3 straight maps here. He's sniffing the water, making sure the cap smells good. And it does. He takes a sip. Well-deserved sip of water there for the boys in NIP, and Nick, they just look clean.
Yeah, they're the team to stop right now. Everyone's kind of trying to figure out how they want to do it. It seems like they can get almost anything they want and be successful with it. It's an incredibly experienced roster with such a wide variety of backgrounds and champions that they've played that has culminated in one extremely powerful lineup.
NIP 1 game away from sealing set number 2 of the day. Gore, Meta, what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are, NIP are just exactly what we thought of them. They are very, very good at the game. And I think, honestly, we can translate or transition this conversation from NIP and Kanga to just how good triple DPS can be on this map.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you get the perfect comp. You get Barrack and you get Genos. All the pieces are lining up in NIP's favor. I don't know if Kanga was expecting it, but I think after this match, when they see a Barrack, a Genos, and 2 DPS on a big map like Fish Market or another one, you've got to expect triple deeps because, like we mentioned, alternative strategies. I don't even think this is that alternative. It's a really good strat on a map that it's perfect for, and NIP played it really well.
It's definitely something they made look clean. Diggy Dog was the one. I think he had no deaths after the first round.
Yeah.
And being able to kind of carry that performance that you have. I mean, Leon is probably one of the deadliest, I'd say, outside of Cassie. You put Cassie in good hands, and she's going to be incredible. But being able to translate this over, and the fact that Diggy Dog is this flexible, the fact that he's been playing, kind of that flex frontline lately, and they can still put him, yesterday on the Bomb King, today on the Leon. It's making a huge difference for them.
Yeah, and I think they look really well when they do it. They're getting all the good things that NIP had going for them last season. Diggy really playing really well on the damages. Plus, with their new school style, they get Tenor. They get Alex also getting to play signature champions. Alex on the Eevee, constantly pressuring the backline. Tenor on the Pip, just sort of micromanaging the battlefield. He's sitting up on high ground, throwing heals where they need it, doling out the ultimates whenever they need to just delete one person or more than one. It's just a really good look for him.
And it's just one of those things that, yesterday you look at a set, if it goes towards 6 games, right, you can always look at, okay, well, this is like the pick that needs to be taken away, or this is the pick that needs to be banned. This is some way you can try to control the behemoth. As of right now, I do not have anything that has been consistent from NIP that I can say, hey, Kanga, get rid of this, and it's going to make it easier. It almost feels like it is very much just a difference in play style right now. I
think the thing for me when I'm looking at this set so far, the consistency isn't in NIP's picks or anything. It's the fact that Kanga really likes to ban standard. I think that if you're in Kanga's position here, you're down 3-0, everything you've been throwing at them is just completely missing. You're not getting any traction. Start leaving stuff up. Leave Koa up. Leave Torvald up. Really just try and throw a wrench into the plans, because chances are in the majority of NIP scrims when they're trying these things, Koa and Torvald are going to be banned. That's the most standard draft phase we have now, Khan as well, stuff like that. So if I'm Kanga, that's what I'm looking to do. Looking to throw them off by putting a permaban into the draft pool.
And that's just one of the things that, especially if you are in Kanga's position where you're picking the map right now, if you're going to go first pick like they did that last map, it leaves the door open for you. Make them, quote unquote, make the mistake, right? Like make them have to figure out what to ban out, what to kind of control. Because if you do get Makoa or Torvald, like those two champions on their own, we've seen in the past, have huge impacts on gameplay.
Yeah, and there's no guarantee that that's going to win you the game, but I think it's just, it makes the game different from what NIP's used to, and what NIP's used to right now is dominance, and they've just been dominating Kanga this set, so you got to switch something up somehow. I don't think you can force them onto anything weird without leaving those big ones up. If Kanga ban Khan, Torvald, or Koa in their first bans on this map, I'm going to be a little disappointed.
Well, based on what I've been seeing, I almost expected Khan has been banned by them several times, but yeah, they're going to go second here, which leaves NIP open to maybe grab up some of those better picks.
Pip, Cassie. Okay, so maybe
Torvald.
NIP is on the same level as me.
they're looking at it like, give us Makoa or give us Khan. Either way, we're going to be happy for it because, I mean, Pip, Cassie versus Makoa, Torvald on the side of Kanga. I mean, at this point, I actually want to ask, NIP are on the same wavelength. They get first pick, they get the Khan here because they don't ban him out. Would you have rather seen Kanga not necessarily throw away a ban, but use that ban somewhere else on either the Torvald or the Makoa and get one of the two?
Yeah, honestly, I'd ban two things that aren't them, so you get two of the three.
Yeah.
Like your second pick right here, you don't want to trade one for one because if you leave Koa and Khan up, they're just going to take Makoa, and I think that's still a beneficial trade for NIP. Maybe you leave all three up and you try and get two of the three.
And you can get Koa,
something. You just
Khan, Torvald. Ooh, that'd be deadly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no point tank, but it's still very aggressive and enables things and really throws a wrench in everything NIP's used to. But, you know, that's all just potentials. We've already seen what they're doing, so they're not going to go with that. The Ruckus Genos, I like a lot right here. Ruckus without Cassie on the table. Kanga, also Rhino or Joels, whoever plays this, they're going to have a lot of freedom. But it's interesting that no point tanks have been prioritized. This is a very point tank heavy map.
Yeah, and honestly, looking towards, I think, specifically Rhino, but Kanga is one of the few teams that, admittedly, you could tell me either Rhino or Joels are going to play this, and I'd believe it, because I feel like they don't quite have what I would say most other teams have, where most teams have like the dedicated point tank for you, you know, like Tulki, 9 times out of 10, Tulki is going to be playing like a Nara or something similar on the point, maybe the Barrack on the point, but then you have your flex tank, right? Diggy Dog has been the big flex tank over there, probably going to be the one on the con this game. Barrack probably going over towards Bonker, and Bird being able to grab this is perfect because he leaves Alex and Bittner flexible.
Yeah, I like the Barrack pick. Denying the Luminary Genos combination is really strong on point, and you're also forcing Kanga. Do we take a Nara here? Do we take a, like we saw on Navi, on Ice Mines in Game 7, do we have an Inara with just a Genos heal? Like, it's going to be a very tough situation for whichever Kanga player does get put on this, and they do go for it.
Well, I really am a big fan, personally, not only of Luminary Bomb King, but just Bomb King on Ice Mines. I feel like that's actually something that is, I'm going to say it as a saving grace here for Kanga. I feel like right now, there's just been a gap mechanically between them and NIP, and I feel like getting a draft like this can bring you up into that level. But again, NIP get the con, and you know Diggy's going to be aggressive on it. They get a Barrack, so you know Inara is going to have a hard time fighting him. And if they go for Tyra, they might just have this, not necessarily the same damage amp, but they're still going to be able to do a little more damage to you than I think you are prepared for, and they're going to grab it again.
Yeah, and I think the big thing about Tyra for me in this situation is that when we were looking at the Serpent game, they were marking Inara and killing her immediately. With Kanga having 2 healers, with them having a Grover and a Pip. So if we're on this map and Tenor is putting that mark onto Joels, who I assume will be playing the Inara, I can't see him living. There's no instant heal. There's really, I can't see the Inara surviving this onslaught.
Well, Zen locked in there at the end. Again, someone who's been making a big difference. Made a huge difference for VP earlier on this map.
I don't expect Guillotine this game, though. They already have the con. And I think Yomi just does a lot to pressure out the windows and stuff, whereas, because Tyra doesn't really have the range that you expect from other things. Okay, well, they heard me. They said, our Inara needs more heals. We'll take a Grok and get it going.
Okay. I'll sit with it. You have enough targets in the Barrack to be able to kind of bounce shock pulses off of Tyra as well. Not going to be moving too often.
CC Totem might look really good right here. Khan, Damba, both of them really struggle when their CC's mitigated. I don't know what they're going to do, though.
Well, Kanga pull out the Grok. It kind of throws everybody for a loop, but we're going to go down to the casters, see their opinion on this Grok locked in.
Not only here, but see our opinion. Here we are. These are our opinions. What is your opinion on the
at
Grok?
I think there's always the cool opportunity for like the CC immunity totem.
Right.
Nobody ever really has the balls to go for it, though. That's
Right.
the problem. I don't think they will be going for it. I think Maelstrom brings a lot of easy, safe spread pressure into the barracks, stuff like that. Big Dog feeling good. A little young dab.
Where's my
here.
team?
Evil Eye is just lost and confused, and that's the way Kanga are looking in this set. They are about to be swept off on this Friday afternoon as we load into what could be the final game of the PPL for Week 5.
Looking to start the reverse sweep on the side of Kanga. Grok making his way back to Ice Mines. I know we've been a fan of that in the past. Provides a little extra healing as well. Luminary, of course. Maelstrom as well. Coming out on the side of Grok. You look at the NIP side. What's sort of their win condition in this matchup for you going against a Grok Bomb King?
I think at the moment it's getting a mark onto a priority target, and then that person is going to be a little shooketh. I think they're going to probably look to just hide in the back line. And if people aren't being aggressive, that's going to allow the Xin to penetrate into the back line. Zin's one of the best at diving backlines because he is so survivable right now. Alex has been extremely good on Xin and extremely good at playing alone on Ice Mines. He's had to do this a lot. All he does is he plays this doorway, and eventually he storms the high ground and looks for a kill.
Well, it's enough to make Rhino pour half of his clip or half of his magazine, whatever kind of guns Ruckus is running there, into the empty doorway, just in case Alex pokes his head around the corner, and he's zoning off two people. Those Yomi strikes doing so much damage right now. Jera's low on the backside. Not able to clean up the kill just as of yet, though. But wait, 96%, I didn't even realize Ninjas in Pyjamas is so close to taking this. Our eyes have been turned the entire time, but Bonker and Alex, just a couple kills could be enough. Minute and 45 into this game, and it looks like NIP are well on their way to point number 1.
And it's mathematically like we're a minute 30 into this game when we're saying, all right, we're headed into overtime here. I mean, a lot of times we've seen first bloods fall at 2 minutes, much less NIP without a Nara.
I wasn't ready for that.
Without a Nara. Just walk up to the objective and sit there until it's captured.
Is that just, I mean, are you... I mean, I know Alex was turning a few heads there. He had the Ruckus and the Genos kind of checking their back. Here's the overpower. It's going to be good onto Rhino as well. He's going to go down. Was it just enough? Just enough confusion, essentially, on the side of Kanga?
Part of it.
Enough head turns?
Kanga don't have a lot of damage drafted right now. They have Luminary Bomb King. Ruckus shot that doorway for, I think, 45 seconds straight. So he's not doing anything. Genos was up there with him, just healing, just kind of doing what he does. If Grok wasn't landing good shock pulses, we can take a look at the damage charts and see what type. Normally Grok's, like, even while losing, can be top damage, so he's close to hitting that. But it's a little bit scary that Bomb King kind of wasn't on top there. Early on in the game when there's so much shielding from both Barrack and from Khan, and you have to worry about being marked up, being the sole win condition is very difficult for Evil Eye in this case, because he's going to expose himself as the win condition, and then he's going to get marked up and obliterated.
Fortunately, that's exactly what's going to happen. He's actually able to keep himself alive here. Bittner's going to be the one to fall. Chronix as well. That's a couple now for Kanga. Still a minute and 10 seconds left. Looking like a clean sweep here on the side of red.
Yeah,
it's like NIP are just going to back themselves off.
Tempest is a super good ultimate early on. When you can't, it's too much healing for you to be able to swat Grok out of the sky. You might be able to, but it's going to take you so long that you have definitely lost the fight everywhere else, because there's people that are move speed stimmed running around, and they're slowed as well. And it's a very big movement speed stim and a very, very intense slow. A 50% slow in a professional game is, for all intents and purposes, a root. They are not going to miss.
Not going to miss. Works out well for them in that case. 30 seconds left, though. Kanga putting up a pretty good defense here. They have the Hexifier, they have the King Bomb. We've seen this once or twice where kind of a sneaky big team fight win here from NIP could turn into this payload moving pretty far forward in overtime. But they have to fight and get back to the payload if they want a chance at that. Unfortunately, Joel's falling for Kanga right now. Evil Eye could be the next to follow. Alex with 2 to start off this fight. He's looking for 3 onto Chronix. One more swipe is going to do it. Wait a second, he does. He ends up finding it. Oh my, Alex, you got to stop, buddy. You get a triple kill on the spite. He's not missing shots. I thought it was done for, but Alex on the Zen. Huge plays coming out from him, and NIP are still alive in this round.
And he's barely even chewing his gum. That was easy for Alex. Not a hair out of place. double Yomi hit, whirls to the back line, no hesitation. Spite, it's gorgeous. It's the full kit of Xin on display. I mean, that's a beautiful replay. That's a beautiful just 30 seconds of like how to play Xin. Play that clip and say no more, fan.
Play that clip. Don't miss your shots. Is big, important thing there for Xin. Kanga, though, find a couple kills to stall out the payload push. They trade out a few of their lives as well, though. Both teams with big ultimate utility on both of their sides. Evil Eye trying to stay alive here. Rhino's going to find Bird, so that's the healer down now for NIP. Bittner is going to clean him up. That's just enough for Kanga to stay alive. So, I mean, Alex, the huge play keeps them in it. But a little too little, a little too late. Still a good bit of distance to go there for the NIP guys. Here it is.
This is why I love Xin in a Bomb King. I think come around the corner with that big swing, hit the counter, whirl through. It's all good. That was a sick spike too, man. He didn't even get as far as he wanted to with that whirl. I think it was. Because he killed Anar right at the start. I think it was King.
It was a double, and then a pause, and then the triple to finish it off. Because he got
the multi-kill timer is wicked short in Paladins. Like you literally have to almost kill them close to at the same time for it to count. But he gets the Inara, then the Bomb King, then the Grok Ruckus.
And
so he did. He aced them. He killed everyone.
The clean sweep, unofficial penta for Alex. Unfortunately, though, still falling short.
That feels like a pentakill to me. That's why I think the multi-kill timer is too short. You can't watch that clip and say, oh, that's not a pentakill, idiot. I'm like, he killed literally everyone and did not stop at all at any point.
You'd think it would work out that way. Unfortunately for him, only a pentakill in theory. Some ultimates starting to get popped out for either team here. Jero's going to find one with the through time and space, and that works out pretty well for him here. Kanga are the ones who are finding themselves on the point right now, but the damage is starting to get turned around onto them. Bittner is going to be the one to do it. Here's the Hex of Fire. There's a wall blocking him off, though. He's going to get stunned up. He's going to get killed off. And NIP retake the point in a big way.
Nice stuff there from NIP. Now the zone comes out, but it's not as hard and fast as they would probably like. Just having this Barrack out there, Tyra poking out. A lot of low mobility picks, so they can't get too far out, because once they're too far out, they wouldn't be able to get back. 69% and climbing. Ooh, the overpower does connect. Not on Anar, though. I thought he was going for Anar. I was about to call that he missed it.
Gets Evil Eye with it. Anos Rhino is going to be the next to fall as well. Only 3 members up for Kanga to try to contest this one. They're on the point right now, but Bonker's running wild in the back line. Bittner's finding one onto Joel's. That's going to spell the end here for point number 3. NIP back on the offensive push.
They're just very good.
They are very good at the game.
They're pretty good. And I don't think I'm stretching.
I don't think you're stepping too far out of line here to say NIP are good at this game. I think that's certainly within the realm of acceptability.
And it's that, like, it's everyone, too. It's like, one week it was Bird being able to play these very niche supports that was giving them a lot of space and doing a lot of things. Now this week it's Tenor playing all these wacky stuff, and today, even versus yesterday, it's getting even weirder for him, stuff that we haven't seen him play. The week before, I thought Bonker and Diggy were really kind of the superstars of that show, the way they were just commanding space. It didn't matter what tanks they were playing. They were reinventing the way Frontline was being played and doing whatever they wanted with it. But that's because I think they really do, like we were saying earlier, they rely so much on each other. Everyone is so important to the game plan, and they are always all giving it 100%.
Well, it's wild in all of these fights. It's like, all right, fight number 1, Bonker gets a triple on the Barrack. Next fight, it's Diggy Dog on the Leon getting a triple for, I mean, any given fight, like you said, it could be any of the guys on NIP. Bittner's going to be the one to start this one off, though. Ruckus falling. This keeps going in the way of the team in blue. Kanga could find themselves down 3-1. Set point here. The Tempest is going to come out.
That was funny.
He's going to find a kill, but also find himself some space to stay alive here. Bittner just firing away from up top. Oh, no.
Well, Alex, that was very funny. He got caught by a laser beam. Alex spited into range of Tempest and one lightning bolt, just like Zeus, just from the heavens, just like, sit down, boy. And he died to that. Very, very funny little final team fight here. Might have a chance to get their feet back under them, but with how staggered Bonker is, it takes, like, when someone dies like that, it's literally like 20-25 seconds before they're back and relevant in this fight again.
Wait. Oh, no! I didn't even realize what was happening!
And that's how all good backdoors happen, Dave. And that's how all good backdoors happen.
I didn't even realize what was going on. We were breaking down the end of the fight, and he stays in it. The Xin just keeps himself out of sight, out of mind. backdoors the rest of Kanga, and a little bit of poetic justice there for us. We're saying, yeah, maybe they'll get back into it, but what a play there.
And they're just kind of like, yeah, well, that was the plan all along.
That was the plan. That's what we that's what we had in the books anyway. Alex, the big brain play there to swoop around the backside, get himself on the payload, and get it pushed through. I mean, the rest of Kanga were looking forward. They were trying to start the zone out there, but Alex was having none of it. Well played from him.
I mean, I'd like to see the replay, but I can only imagine he went like one way. He had to have gone all the way around, kind of through the high ground. And that's what I imagine. You can't just run it right down mid, can you? I don't know.
You would assume not.
That's for Alex to know and us to wonder.
And I'm sure that's something that we'll have to touch on here. Seismic crash. Joel's going to send that one flying. He's going to trade out his life for it. NIP starting off potentially the set-winning fight here for themselves. The Hexafire from Rhino is going to be good for some damage, but not good for any kills. Instead, he's going to be the one to fall. Bonker's the one in this fight who's going to find himself too. NIP now running down the rest of Kanga, looking to win themselves game number 4 and looking to get the weekend started early for them.
Well, I guess we'll be able to ask them in the post-game interview here in a couple seconds. 72% climbing, the deepest of zones that we have ever seen. Alex into the billow here, 93%. And Nara's creeping up, but actually does go down there, and that will do it.
Well, that went the way. I think the back door was a little interesting, but the ending there was seemingly the way it was. Kanga looking really good in game number 1, but NIP effectively win 12 straight, only dropping 1 point there on Ice Mines to take it 4-0.
Diggy dusts off his hands and hits a little mini dab and then gets up out of his chair. And even when it's all business, it's all memes. And ex-teammates here, Diggy Dog and Kanga, all smiles.
Still smiles.
Very, very close friends from back in the day when he did. I mean, he relocated across the world to play for NIP. Once played for this Kanga roster. Once was captain. Once was the leader for this squad. And now he's moved on to NIP and apparently on to bigger and better things as NIP now sit 5-0.
Ooh, undefeated for NIP. Nothing but love and respect between these two teams, but NIP undefeated on the week. Send it back to the desk to break down the final set of the day.
Undefeated it is. A 4-0 to put them there to the, 5-0, I guess, in the standings that they are. And the one thing I think that kind of, it splashed into my mind at the very end there, and it's that Bird said something the other day that I think is still holding true and is still going to be true for a while here, where it's just, you've got 5 incredibly flexible players and 5 really great minds and Paladins coming together for drafting. Like, this team is going to be the one that, I think you don't just have to outplay, you have to outsmart every step of the way.
Yeah, and honestly, throughout the set, they promised us a lot of jank, and I didn't really get to see that much of it. They were drafting pretty standard. I mean, the Tyra's a little bit on the side of cheesiness, but I don't think it's that far off. And so it's interesting. You can't really expect what they're going to do. They tell you one thing, and then they bring out the other.
Yeah.
You got to plan for both somehow.
And it's probably the most difficult thing you could do. Of course, everything looked really good. Bonkar was able to do a ton there on the Barrack, and Barrack has quickly escalated from we would never see him to he is almost more valued than an R.
Yeah, he does a lot. I mean, and there's also a lot of mechanical skill that comes with this. And so when we see these DPS players switching over roles onto tanks like Bonker, like Lazy, it's really interesting to see how much impact they can make on the Barrack.
Yeah. And the one thing I'm kind of curious about, we did see a backdoor by Alex on Zen that time. The last time we got to see a backdoor was your team doing it on Eevee. To Kanga, unfortunately for them. So now that's twice it's happened for them. The question I have for you is, when a backdoor is being executed, either when you're the team doing it and the other team, if you're the team it's happening to, how exactly do you balance that? Like, what are the comms like when you're trying to get that done?
Usually one person just says, I'm behind. Well, you guys just distract. Like, whether you have to keep fighting or you feint and you fall back and try and bait them in more.
Yeah.
And, both situations where we saw that was during a 4-0. And, I think what happens is Kanga, when they get a moment and they get excited and they finally get their foot back on it, they just get overzealous and they push too far up. And a well-placed flank is able to really put the nail in the coffin.
Well, Alex was the one who was able to do that one. Of course, we can look at the schedule for this week, see how everything broke down. Yesterday was pretty standard, 4-2 NIP over Virtus Pro, 4-1 Not As Sincere over Kanga Esports. Today we had a nice lengthy 3-hour best of 7. Virtus Pro were able to squeak that one out over Na'Vi. And of course you just saw it, or maybe you blinked and you missed it. NIP 4-0'd in a pretty quick stance Kanga when they came through. They're looking really good, and we can actually look at the standings to even see how good they are, because it was a 4-0 coming into this week. It's a 5-0 now. It's 16 wins. It'd be 20 if they were perfect every single time, so you can see 4 total map losses. I think 2 in the first week, 2 yesterday. So pretty big for them, but I mean, Space Station technically still undefeated, and unfortunately, Meta Pusher, I have to call it out, Envy sitting number 5, but 3-3, honestly not too far from the top. I feel like really 2 through 5 right now can go anywhere.
Yeah, you know, having to play a lot of maps early on definitely kind of makes the standings a little bit odd. When you're seeing teams with different amounts of games played, we really have to wait till later in the season to see where things even out. But at the end of the day, top 6 make it to MSI, so up 5 is not exactly where I want to be, but I'm happy with it.
Well, hey, I know in a couple of weeks, actually, I think starting next week, we get to see a little bit more of Space Station as they kind of equalize out what they've been doing. Of course, like we said, they weren't there for the first 4 weeks of play or the first 3 weeks of play. They came in week 4. Because of that, they have to get some of those games caught back up. So they're going to have a doubleheader. I think one of the only teams that's actually going to have it.
Yeah.
And if they push NIP as hard as we saw like Virtus Pro go with Na'Vi, and then they have to do it again against Renegades, winning or losing that first set could mean a lot. Of course, you guys will Envy be facing the Knights next Thursday. Na'Vi and NIP, a set we've been talking about yesterday and today, is going to be huge. And then to close it out, VP and Kanga at the end of the day, Friday next week. A lot of matches I'm looking forward to. I mean, you guys have one, but is there any other match that you're looking forward to next week?
Aside from all the obvious really big matchups,
which is a lot of them.
which is a lot, I'm actually looking forward to the Space Station Renegades following the set that they're going to have with NIP. If I'm Renegades, I'm feeling pretty good that maybe NIP is going to knock Space Station down a notch, and then we get to play them immediately after. There's no recovery time, no time to go home and watch the VODs from your previous set.
Yeah, my stance for that, I'd be like, I almost want that to go about 6 games, right?
Yeah.
Not 7, so they're dead tired, or they're maybe kind of revamped by it, but just long enough that they've been demoralized either way. We did just watch NIP versus Kanga. Again, Boyington, you might have missed it. It was incredibly fast. NIP looked dominant, and this is going to be it. Thanks, Meta Pusher, for joining me on the desk today, because now we're going to jump down to an interview with the players. We've got NIP standing by. Let's see how they feel.
Thank you, guys. First of all, congratulations, 2-0 on the week, but more importantly, 5-0 now in the PPL. I know he's not up here with us, but looking back at that Ice Mines game, what were some of the comms like? What did you guys see on that back door from Alex?
Well, I mean, to be honest, he didn't say anything. I noticed it because I was dead and I was
Classic
spectating
Alex, am I right?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, Alex is looking for a back door here, guys. So, you know, there's a bit of baiting that goes on after that.
Oh, man, and he ends up getting it. A fairly quick set overall. You said you were expecting a little bit more from Kanga, I think, today.
Yeah, we were expecting more. They looked decent against Na'Vi, but they kind of fell short today.
Well, what are your changed opinions on Na'Vi after having seen them go down in that war against Virtus Pro today?
I don't know. It's weird. I haven't seen them play yet, but they looked super solid last year, so...
Well, you guys have them next week, so after the way that this week has gone, do you think that is still going to be your hardest matchup in the PPL?
Them or SSG, yeah.
I think next week is our hardest week, but...
SSG's a good team to bring up right now because they've only played 2 of their games. They are technically undefeated, as are you guys, but they haven't played a lot of their toughest matchups. Right now, the question is like VP's on the upswing. How high are they going to go? SSG's kind of on the upswing. How high do you expect them to go? Do you expect them to be able to take down teams like Na'Vi?
SSG, I definitely think they have a solid as no swearing, solid lineup.
Well done. Way to keep it clean here for the
My
boys,
bad.
Diggy. Way to keep it clean. You weren't feeling so well today, but I think you played pretty clean.
Thank you, man.
Looking forward to next week, I know we kind of looked at some of those matchups. There's going to be a few new champions coming out into the patch next week. Terminus is going to be viable, I think, again. Some of those other guys, any spice, any potential spice from you guys? That's the word we keep using, maybe with some of the new guys coming out.
Well, we've tried to have it spicy in every week so far, so hopefully,
Hopefully some more spice.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, guys. 5-0 in the PPL. That's going to do it for us today. See you next time.
The Paladins Premier League, brought to you by Skillshot.